crisis rocking the Kogi State Assembly deepened today as the pro-Imam faction members of the House suspended 10 members of the factional group led by the embattled Speaker Momo Lawal. The group, led by Umar Imam, announced the suspension today on the floor of the Assembly after a report of a committee set up to look into the crisis. The five-man committee, led by Honourable John Abba, in its findings, said the crisis caused in the House was heated up by people with vested interests. The committee also aligned with the position of the Attorney General of the Federation, who is alleged to have said that the sealing of the Assembly was not necessary as the crisis had not led to breakdown of law and order in the state. Channels Television's Imo correspondent Tokbe Kutei, who was abducted by gunmen in the early hours of Monday, has been released. Mr. Kutei was forcefully taken from his home at the Federal Housing Estate in Owerri. The abductors on Monday scaled Mr. Kutei's fence and forced their way into his home. Channels Television is using this medium to thank the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Solomon Arase, the State Commissioner of Police and his men, and officers of the Department of State Services. Management is also extending appreciation to the State Governor Rocha Sokorocha, his entire team, and all other well-meaning Nigerians. Call it a breakthrough in Nigeria's medical experience, and you may not be wrong. 5 years of successful kidney transplant for patients by Zenith Medical and Kidney Center in Abuja is surely a breakthrough that the medical team are happy about. The hospital management says the establishment of the Kidney Center is aimed at reducing the number of Nigerians who travel abroad for kidney treatment.
Zenith Medical and Kidney Center is a kidney specialist hospital that carries out kidney transplant. The medical team, comprising of professional nephrologists and surgeons from Nigeria and abroad, have been successfully transplanting kidneys for patients in the last 5 years.
We do our surgeries, the transplant surgeries, with both local doctors and expatriates who oversee the surgeries and give advice and guidance. And as far as the follow-up of these patients goes, after the transplant, we have nephrologists who are both locally trained and internationally trained and have wide international exposure.
The team also spoke on the comparative advantage of having a transplant done in the center of Abuja.
At Zenith Medical and Kidney Center, two advantages basically boils down to two advantages. One is a cost advantage. We're probably the cheapest in the country offering transplant services in the private sector, and way cheaper than going abroad to have the transplant done. When you calculate the fees for the transplant itself, airfare fees, accommodation fees, and then we're easily accessible. We're right in the capital city of the country.
If this is done outside the country and by the third week patient is back, then you will start running helter-skelter from one health facility to another, looking for the right person to address that problem. And this is what local transplant is eliminating.
Although there are other forms of managing kidney diseases, kidney experts here say transplant is the best.
One form of RRT is dialysis. But dialysis, the patients need to come to the hospital 3 times a week or twice a week, and for peritoneal dialysis, they need to learn special techniques to do the dialysis at home. Whereas the renal transplantation is the best form of renal replacement therapy, where you give them a new kidney and they try and pass the urine, and if it works, they don't need to visit the hospital frequently, and their health gets back very nicely, and they will get back into the society, and most of them go back to work as well.
Kidney transplant is a specialized form of medical surgery that replaces a damaged or infected kidney with another that is active and functional.
All right, now let's take a look at some sports. Here's Charles Aruka.
Welcome to Sports News. It's down to business in the Lagos preliminary round of the Channel's National Kids Cup that will begin on Tuesday, April the 19th across 2 centers. 32 schools will compete at the 2 centers of the Onikan Stadium and the Campus Square for 2 schools that will emerge to represent Lagos at the national finals in May.
In the semi-final, It's a corner kick and header in the crossbar, and it's the first goal.
Every year, the Channels National Kids Cup brings kids from different parts of the country to play for the love of the game.
Jersey number 7. What a coincidence!
It's season 8 of the football competition, and the road to the national finals begins with a draw ceremony for the Lagos Preliminaries.
We believe that nature has groomed you with all the necessary skills and talents to play good football. We also believe that nurture will take over as you grow up to develop and expose those skills and styles.
The winner of the National Kids Cup will go for international competition. And this is courtesy of the Nigerian Football Federation.
Enough of the talks, and one after the other, the players file out to know their opponents.
C8. A5.
The Onikan Stadium will host games in Group A and C, while the match venue for schools in Group B and D is Campus Square. With the draw done and dusted, we are waiting for showtime, but the kids are already talking tough.
And that's it on Sports News. It's back to Joma with the rest of the news at 10.
Now, the Brazilian President Dilma Rousseff has accused her deputy Michel Temer of leading the conspiracy to unseat her. And the main news again. Well, the president has called on Nigerian and Chinese business communities to work harder to reduce the trade imbalance between both countries, which is currently in China's favor. He told a forum of investors in Beijing that the trade and economic relations between both countries must be mutually beneficial and conducted with respect and trust. That's the news at 10 tonight. Thanks so much for staying with us. I'm Ijoma Hunyato. Do have a good night.